Good Wednesday evening. Welcome to BCP Live. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. Glad that you are along for the ride with me tonight. Hey, listen, it is a wonderful night tonight. It's a cool evening, not too cold. I was thinking about going ahead and just doing this without the jacket tonight, but then I decided no. Sometimes when I get cold, my teeth chatter, and so I'd rather not take the chance on that. Wildlife is out just a little bit tonight, maybe not as much as it was last night, though. I will tell you this: right after I shut down the broadcast last night on BCP Live, the coyotes came out, and they were incredibly loud. It was, I mean, seriously, it probably was 20 to 30 seconds after we went off the air that the coyotes, and I mean, you could have heard it. So we're wondering if that's going to be a part of tonight's broadcast or not. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But anyway, whatever it is, God bless you. Thank you for watching. It's a Wednesday night, and I had something planned earlier today. Well, much earlier today, earlier in the week. And over the course of my day, I decided to change it, move some things around, and I just wanted to share with you tonight. Again, you may get preached to just a little bit, but I do have a license. Hi, Teresa. Glad that you are watching tonight. And Zeph, thank you so much, sir, for watching tonight. I appreciate you very much. Listen, I had the chance to go to a funeral today, and I want to share a couple of things with you that mean very much to me, and it is what I believe that, well, one of them for sure, I know God has for me to share tonight. The other one, I may just be, there was a time when Paul said, I'm saying this, it's not the Lord. So you may get that from me tonight. Well, I'm saying this. God didn't tell me to say this tonight, but I was going to say this anyway. So we'll see. You'll know when it gets there. You will definitely know when it gets there. Anyway, I had the opportunity today to go to the funeral from someone about whom I have the most respect. His name is James Miller, and he was the principal at Springdale Elementary School, and that is the elementary school that I went to when I was growing up. I went there from 1976 through 1983. I know, I don't look that old, but yeah, that's when I was there. And Mr. Miller was the principal through that entire time. He served in various capacities in education over a number of years, 3 decades, I believe, somewhere down the line. And he passed on Sunday, went to be with the Lord. He was somebody that was incredibly special. Now, I don't know how much you recall about your elementary principal or not. One of the things oh my goodness, we remembered Mr. Miller because he had a stern voice. He had polio when he was a kid, way back in the 40s, 30s and 40s, and one leg was shorter than the other. He didn't move very fast, but you know what? He didn't need to. He commanded respect. He didn't have to be at some kind of rapid pace to be where he needed to be. He would say something with that deep voice. You just turned and you listened. He commanded respect. He demanded respect. And from a bunch of little elementary kids, I mean, we were, part of the reason we were terrified because we didn't want to go in there. Corporal punishment was still a thing back then. I know. And you know what? We all lived. We all made it through that time. I don't think any one of us were scarred dramatically because of that. And honestly, I was just lived in so much respectful fear of the man. I never actually had to have the corporal punishment. Got away without getting any licks because, man, I was walking the straight and narrow. Now, I have a friend of mine who I saw today at the funeral service, and she told me that I was just a suck up. Well, no, I wasn't. I was just trying to, I didn't want to get licks. So there we go. But anyway, this man lived in a godly fashion, but we did respect him. We didn't want to get licks, but we also, over time, we recognized he loved us too. He cared about us. He was who he was for our benefit, not because he wanted to be mean, not because he wanted to demand respect, oh, look at me, but because he knew he had a job to do, and he did it, and he did it well. And so many people have shared their experience over the last 3 days over social media. A number of people got to make it to the funeral today, but so many people that even maybe hadn't seen him in a long time. I saw him a couple of years ago. I'll talk about that in a moment. But hadn't seen him in a long, long time, and they came back. They wanted to say, Mr. Miller did this for me. I appreciate very much what James Miller did in my life. I want to give really quickly, by the way, um, Maddie, I saw your comment last night. I didn't see it till it was too late to say something, so I want to say thank you for watching, Mrs. Cookie. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I've never heard that song, "The Bible in the Belt." we, we do need that today. That's one of the two things I wanted to share today. But my respect for him was so high, and it just grew over the years. And people that have just come out of the woodwork to say, man, I loved him. I appreciate him. He was also one of these guys too. He would come up and he'd pinch your cheek, and I mean, he just shake you all around. He'd pinch your cheek, but he loved us. He cared about us, and we respected him, and we grew to be functioning citizens in society because we had an authority figure, a godly authority figure speaking into our life. And I'm even going to take this a step farther. A godly man speaking into our lives. I don't want to take away anything from godly women. My mother was a godly woman. My stepmother is a godly woman. I am very grateful for the godly women who are over me in my life. My mother-in-law is a godly woman. And these people in my life, I listen to them. I respect them. There's Carol Kaiser is a godly woman, like a second mom to me. When she speaks, I listen. So I don't want to take away anything from godly women. So nobody, cards and letters, that's fine. Send your cards and letters. It's all right. The post office is able to get it to the new address. More power to you. That's fine. But I want to tell you that there's absolutely nothing with being a godly man, and we need more godly men. There was a woman on social media within the past 4 or 5 days who was talking about the fact that we need some manly men, is what she said. I think we need some godly men, although manly men, that didn't hurt. She was excoriated on social media because she said we need some men. James Miller was a man. He was a manly man. He worked hard. He worked with his hands, arms and legs. He did everything it took to get things done. He was a godly man too, and he gave us a good example. So I just wanted to give that as a shout out to him. And one of the two things I wanted to read this to you. And again, oftentimes we take parts of the Bible and we mention them only at certain times of year or for certain situations. Yeah, Maddie, I'm going to look that up. I am going to look up the Bible in the Belt and I'll listen to it. Hey, Linda, glad you're watching tonight. But anyway, Dr. Mark Allen, who's the pastor at Abundant Life, was teaching about Gethsemane this past Sunday. And often we teach about Gethsemane when it's Easter time. And you know what? The Bible's written for 365, or in leap years, 366 days out of the year, not just one time, not just one season. When I was a youth pastor, there were a couple of things I did that would mix things up. My Thanksgiving message, I always preached in May because it was on completely the opposite end of the year. Why? Because we need to be thankful all the time. I also preached the 12 months of Christmas. There are too many Christmas stories to try to squeeze into like 1, 2, or even 3 Wednesday nights. So we just did it for a year, kept a Christmas tree up all year long. I did this when I was at ALT. I did this at Victory Life too. And the kids enjoyed it. The Christmas tree being up all year long, the 12 months of Christmas. And we celebrated Christmas all year long. And it was a lot of fun. But this passage of scripture I'm going to read to you. And I've decided I'm going to go ahead. If I can get this out of my pocket here. I may not do it because I may not be able to get it out of my pocket. Just shut down the broadcast so I can reach into my jacket pocket here. There we go. Okay. Some of you all may have never seen these, so pulling out what my daughters call the old man glasses. I had cleaned them too, but I'd stick my fingers all over the glasses trying to get them out of my pocket. So anyway, I'm going to read this. Here's where the comments need to start flying. Anyway, I'm going to read this out of 1 Timothy. I know, you would think I was like digging down 3 feet into ground. I didn't think it was that big a pocket. Thanks for watching, by the way, Michelle. I'm going to read this out of 1 Timothy tonight, 1 Timothy chapter 3. And Paul is talking to Timothy, and he's giving a little bit of a lesson here, saying, look, the people that you put in charge, he's talking to Timothy because Timothy's starting churches all around. And he's telling, look, the people that you put in charge need to be these kind of people. These are the men that need to be in charge. I'm going to read this out of the Amplified. And it says, this saying is true and irrefutable. Can I pause for a second and say there are a lot of people right now online and on social media that are saying a lot of things are irrefutable that really I don't think know what that word means. I don't think you understand what that word means. I don't think you know. You use that word a lot, but I don't think you understand what that word means. Anyway, sorry, that's my Princess Bride. It's a very, very bad Mandy Patinkin. But anyway, this saying is true and irrefutable. If any man eagerly seeks the office of bishop, superintendent, overseer, what we might even call a pastor, he desires an excellent task. Now, let's stop for a second and say this. If any man desires to be a man, a godly man, whatever office it is, whether it's a father, whether it's a pastor, whether it's a businessman, I'm going to extend this all the way out. I'm going to take a little liberty with the word, not too much, but a little liberty and extend it all the way out and say, you want to be a man, then look at this. He desires an excellent task. Now, a bishop, a superintendent, and overseer must give no grounds for accusation, but must be above reproach. Don't put yourself in a situation, let not your good be evil of it, said in Romans. That was said all the time. It's, there are lots of things that are okay for me to do, but not everything is something that needs to be done. Also in Romans. The husband of one wife, one at a time, by the way. I mean, I understand things happen. Okay, that's to be acceptable. Things happen, but one wife at a time. By the way, husband and wife. Okay, circumspect and temperate and self-controlled. He must be sensible. Men need to be sensible and well-behaved. Men need to be well-behaved. That's not to say you can't have fun. Okay, it's all right to have fun. I'm going to read this next. Let me go ahead and read the next word. And dignified. It's okay. You can be dignified and still have fun. You can. And lead an orderly, disciplined life. He must be hospitable, showing love for and being a friend to the believers, especially strangers and foreigners, and be a capable and qualified teacher. Man, man. Men, there are things that we ought to be able to teach by now. I realize I'm 49, not 50, but 49. There are some things I ought to be able to teach by now. Not given to wine. It didn't say that the man couldn't drink wine. It said he should not be given to wine. I just want to clarify that. I don't even want to get into that much, but I want to clarify that someone whose life is not dependent upon wine or anyway, not combative, but gentle and considerate. Do you can be manly and still gentle? You don't have to be a gruff pain in the backside to be a man? Just saying. And considerate. It's all right to be considerate. Not quarrelsome, but forbearing and peaceable. Forbearing. Have a little patience. If somebody didn't immediately floor the car in front of you when the light turned green, you don't have to lay on your horn. Keeping his children under control. Whoa, stay out of my business. No. It's part of being a man. With true dignity, commanding their respect in every way and keeping them respectful. I want to go back to Mr. Miller on this. Mr. Miller loved us, but we respected him too. That's important. For if a man does not know how to rule his own household, how is he to take care of the church of God. He must not be a new convert, or he may develop a beclouded and stupid state of mind as a result of pride, be blinded by conceit, and fall into condemnation of the devil, as the devil once did. Look, it's all right. It's going to take a little while to grow into that manhood. My son's 13. He's not a man yet. And even when he turns 18 and 21, he's still going to be young in these things. He's going to take a little while to grow into it. Will I expect him to know more at 18 than he does right now at 13? You better believe it. Will I expect him to know more at 21 than he did at 18? You better believe it. But I know more now at 49 than I did at 21 by a long shot. And I hope I'm living that out. Furthermore, he must have a good reputation and be well thought of by those outside the church too. Not just inside the church, but outside. You know, I do a lot of business with people who go to a church somewhere, and I do a lot of business with people who don't go to church at all, and that's all right. Hopefully, I act the same way in front of and around both sets of people. And I hope that I have a good reputation. I'm trying, and I want to be that way. Not shifty and double talkers, but sincere in what they say, not given to much wine, not greedy for base gain, craving wealth and resorting to ignoble and dishonest methods of getting it. It didn't say you couldn't have money. Didn't say you couldn't want to have money. I'd like to have a little bit more. I'm not supposed to get it through immoral means. They must possess the secret of the faith. Christian men, or Christian truth, is hidden from ungodly men with a clear conscience. There we go. And let them also be tried and investigated and proved first. Then, if they turn out to be above reproach, let them serve. And finally, men, you ought to serve. It's okay to serve. Matter of fact, you're going to find out that you get a lot further in life by serving. And when you serve, man, you're sowing good seed. And there is just something to that. So there you go. Yes, Jamie. Hi, Jamie, by the way. Good to see your name up there tonight. Above reproach. So I'll take the glasses off and look at you really quickly. I want to say to you tonight with a clear conscience that my principal, my elementary principal, the first man that was a principal in my life, a godly man, lived this out. And you know what? I've had godly men in my life, but I'm missing some of them right now. I've mentioned before that my dad, Joseph Wendell McWilliams the first, just in case you didn't know, I am Joseph Wendell McWilliams the second, okay, Joey for short. I'm named in honor of one of the best men that I have ever known, and it's an honor to bear his name. But my dad went to be with the Lord back in February of 2018. My father-in-law, a godly man, Denny Houks. Oh my goodness, what a great man he was and is, because he's just in a different place right now. Went to be with the Lord in December of 2018. My principal that I'm talking about right now, James Miller, went to be with the Lord on Sunday. Men, especially men that are my age and right around, give or take 10 years either direction. Some of these, our great examples, are moving on. Somebody has to step into that role. And I want to encourage you, live by this. Maybe you're not a pastor. Maybe you're not a deacon. Maybe you're not an overseer. Maybe you're not a bishop. Go to 1 Timothy chapter 3 and find out what it takes to live like a man. And I want to tell you it is okay to be a man. It is okay to be a manly man. It is okay to be a godly man. And I encourage you in those things. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight here on BCP Live. Now, that was the one thing that I wanted to share. I also wanted to pass this along. If any of you have an opportunity, I've had many opportunities to do funerals, to preach funerals in my life. I have to tell you, I enjoy preaching weddings a lot more, but I have preached my share of funerals in the last few years. And I just want to give this word of advice to those who preach funerals, who have the opportunity to oversee those funerals. When you do that, you are there to honor the person who has passed and to honor that person's family as best you can. Some people don't give you a lot to work with. I get that, and I understand it. And it sounds like I'm making fun, and maybe I'm a little bit, but not everyone gives you as much to work with as other people. Some people, like Mr. Miller, obviously give you a lot to work with. But when you preach a funeral and when you oversee a funeral, you are there to serve, to bless that family. It's not your opportunity to pick out your favorite message to preach. It's not your time to preach your 30 or 40-minute message that you didn't get the chance to preach, 2 months ago. So now's your time on an unsuspecting crowd. Do you need to talk about Jesus and what's on the other side? Yes, you should. You need to let people know that there is a hope, but it's not your responsibility to preach them into submission. And if you don't know that much about the person at the whatever funeral that you happen to be overseeing, find out. Talk to the family. Listen to the family. Do a lot less talking and a lot more listening. And take notes so that when the time comes, you get to share and talk about the person that you are there to honor and to recognize his or her passing. You'll do a good job if you do that. If you don't do that, you may not do as good a job and probably going to just bore a lot of people. But that is my 2 cents. And I think that's one of those things, by the way, it's kind of like I said, there was a place in the Bible where Paul said, okay, this is what the Lord's saying. And I said, the Lord's not telling you this. I just want to throw this one in extra. So I just wanted to throw that one in extra. But I changed my show prep for tonight after today because I wanted to pass that along, and I felt like it was something that was important. So I thank you very much for listening to that and giving me an opportunity, hopefully, to get to minister to you tonight. BCP Live, I know, is live streaming or news, but it's also commentary. And you'll note that on the actual BryanCountyPatriot.com, we keep it to news as much as absolutely possible. But we have a little bit more fun here, and we do a little commentary along the way. So there we go. Jamie, and I did. Did you hear me talk about the women, Jamie? I did talk about the women. Did you get here in time to hear me talk about the women? Behind most godly men is a godly woman who exhorts him and lifts him up in prayer. And you're exactly right. And I agree with that entirely. And you know what? Can we switch that too? Behind most godly women is a godly man who lifts her up and exhorts her in prayer. And it's important for wives, men, and women. It's important that you pray for your husbands. So that's very true. Our world does need many more godly men. So I hope good. I'm glad you did, because I just wanted you to know I didn't forget about the women. Actually, lead with the women if it's at all possible. So I know chivalry won't die while I'm still around. Just all I'm saying there. All right. Hometown Holiday Tour is going to be in 13 days. And I checked with Stephanie too, by the way, because I did want to get to share with you guys about a lot of things. We'll see if that shows up tomorrow, because I shifted all the things tonight. So anyway, we have a lot going on in Bryan County in the next 2 weeks, and even, well, all the way through Christmas. Christmas now, 37 days from today. 37 days from today. Ask me how many presents I've bought right now. Please don't ask that, because I'm not going to answer. It's a number that's, well, I'm not going to answer that number. Anyway, a few, but not as many as will be later. Anyway, there's still 37 days. So keep that in mind, but along the town and the county. All right. Now, I'm not going to ramble and keep you all too long tonight. Maddie, thanks again for watching. I appreciate that. Teresa, Zeph, you all are incredibly cool. Michelle, thank you for being here. Linda, thank you for being here. Everyone for watching tonight. If I'm just calling out the ones I see comments here. Jamie, God bless you. And I am grateful to get to do what I do, but you are a big part of it. People continuing to watch make it something that I'm able to do. So I appreciate you guys coming on. I know it's a revolving door, but some of you all come in and you stay for the entire time, and I am grateful for you. So God bless you. Zeph, if there's anybody I didn't mention, then please know that my heart was to mention you. I did say Linda, so I think I got her. Oh, Dottie. Hi. I felt like I was missing somebody on there. Dottie. It's good to get to see your name on there too. All right. Anything else? Nothing else? God bless you then. I just pray that you have a great rest of your Wednesday night, that you get a good night's rest. We're more than halfway through the week. I've got a lot to do in the next 2 days. Man, I've spent my day in Ardmore today and visiting with. I got to see a lot of teachers too that I had in elementary school, and some of them. You know what gets me? Some of them recognize me. I had a lot more hair than this when I was younger. I promise I did. Some of you have never seen that, but I promise I did. I had a good time in Ardmore. Got to visit with friends, and it was really a good time. I've got a lot to do tomorrow. I got to catch up on some things, and Friday, and hopefully we can end the week well. So be blessed tonight. Be wise. Be wise. And if you don't have wisdom or don't feel like you do, ask of God. He said he would give it to you generously. Walk in love. It's not as hard as what some people make it out to be. It's really not. So walk in love. And finally, and this is important because the national media is going to tell you a lot of other things. They're trying to pawn off to us now that even with the vaccine, you're still going to need to wear masks and social distance. But I digress. I'm not going to go into that. Do not walk in fear. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't walk in fear. Mrs. Cookie. Sorry, Mrs. Cookie. I want to remember that. God bless you all. Be wise. Walk in love. Do not walk in fear. Hey, let's do this one more time this week. All right. How about tomorrow night? God bless you all. We'll see you then.